Wife!
Do you remember what happened the day before yesterday and how we got here today?
Well, the last time we did an episode, which was not yesterday because we suck, but it was Ezekiel Chapter 37.
Mm-hmm.
And in that episode, God had Ezekiel prophesize to some dry bones.
Yes.
Yeah.
In a valley. The valley
of dry bones, yeah.
Which sounds like a fucking excellent name for a YA novel.
Right. And then we had what appeared to be a zombie apocalypse happening.
And I freaked the fuck out.
Yeah. But it turns out it probably was more like just a symbolism for him returning Israel from Babylon to Israel.
It felt like an acid trip.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt like what I imagined an acid trip would be.
A lot of Ezekiel's stuff is very weird. Yeah. So definitely. Yeah. I mean, and who's to say that he didn't actually mean a zombie apocalypse? Right? Maybe that's what he meant.
Who could know? And you said that we missed yesterday because we suck, and we didn't suck. You got stuck at work.
I did.
Super late.
Yeah, but I wasn't done with my description yet of the.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, they also rubbed two sticks together.
Yes, they did.
It was God bringing the two tribes back together is what that was about.
You were like, but wait.
I had that all set up. It was going to be funny. And now it's only funny because I had you wait for the two sticks. So now it's bullshit. So anyway, that was Ezekiel chapter 37.
Sure as fuck was.
And today we're going to be reading
Ezekiel chapter 38.
All right, let's do this.
Okie dokie. All right, we are hopping into Ezekiel chapter 38, or I like to call it Ezekiel.
Right.
And I'm going to read the first verse. Well, the first two verses, but then I'm going to have to stop.
Is the second verse the same as the first?
It's the same, but worse.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Okay.
The word of the Lord came to me.
Did it? Ezekiel to Ezekiel? Mm-hmm. Not to you.
Son of man.
You mere human.
You fucking worm. Set your face against Gog of the land of Magog.
I thought he was going to say God for a second.
Gog.
I was like, whoa.
The land of Magog.
Okay.
The chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Prophecy against him.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Now, let's stop. Do you remember that whole Gog Magog thing?
I do vaguely.
Right.
But, only because they have interesting names.
Right,
so
exactly.
Not really.
So I was like, hold on.
Yeah, what's a Gog Magog?
Yeah. That's exactly what I was like. So I was like, okay, let me go look that shit up.
Right.
Okay. So I could have waited to cover this in a Q&A, but I feel like it's pertinent to read it as we're going to read the chapter.
Sure. Okay.
All right. So this chapter is about Gog of Magog.
Okay. All right.
So Gog and Magog, or Yajuj and Majuj, which is what they are in Arabic.
Because that's even less clear.
Yeah. Yeah. Gog and Magog, or Yajuj and Majuj.
Right, yeah.
Okay?
Uh-huh.
They're a pair of names that appear in the Bible and the Quran.
Okay.
Variously ascribed to individuals, tribes, or lands.
Got it.
Okay. So in this chapter, it's Gog of Magog.
Okay.
But in other sources, it's Gog and Magog.
Okay. Sure.
So in Ezekiel chapter 38, which is what we're reading today, Gog is an individual and Magog is his land. By the time of the New Testament's Revelation, that final book, Jewish tradition had long since changed Ezekiel's Gog from Magog into Gog and Magog.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the story changed.
So it differs in the Jewish tradition versus the Christian tradition.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. That's interesting.
The Gog prophecy, according to Jewish understanding, is meant to be fulfilled at the approach of what is called the end of days, but not necessarily the end of the world.
Okay.
Okay. So like not an apocalypse per se, but like
something real bad.
Yeah, like the world to come kind of thing.
Okay. All right.
Jewish tradition viewed Gog and Magog as enemies to be defeated by the Messiah, not Jesus. You know,
right, the Jewish Messiah.
Yes, the Messiah to come, right?
Yeah.
Which would usher in the age of the Messiah. So
sure.
These guys would be, the two of them would be defeated by whatever this new Messiah is, and that would usher in his age.
Okay. Yep.
One view within Christianity is more starkly apocalyptic.
Okay.
Which everything seems to be.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Making Gog and Magog, here indicating nations rather than individuals, allies of Satan against God at the end of the millennium, as described in the book of Revelation. Okay. So this legend just got all kinds of twisted the fuck up.
Right.
And lends more credence to the fact that the Bible is a bunch of hooey and legends.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
A legend was attached to Gog and Magog by the time of the Roman period, which, you know, that's the Jesus age kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
That the gates of Alexander the Great, you know, were erected by Alexander the Great to repel the tribe of Gog and Magog.
Okay.
So, you know, the Jewish people, remember they had, if you were following along our book club, we covered Alexander the Great.
We did.
And how they revere him, oddly enough.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he is supposed to have done is to have erected these gates to hold back the hordes of Gog and Magog, the tribes of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So early Jewish historians knew them as the nation descended from Magog the Japhetite, as in Genesis, and explained them to be the Scythians.
So I'm assuming that since we're making these stretches with regard to what's happening in the future in both Jewish and Christian traditions, that this isn't necessarily a factual tribe that exists in the day that they're referring to with regard to this?
That's what I think.
Okay. I'm very curious about that.
Well, that's why there's all these stories, because they're like, we don't really know what this is, because, you know, first it's a dude from a land, then it's two dudes that like fight each other or fight Satan or fight Alexander. Like, what the fuck? We don't even know. And then one of them has the same name as some dude that descended from some Genesis guy.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So.
But to be fair, it's, you know, the Ezekiel has been all over the fucking place.
Right.
I mean, we just raised an army of the dead.
So
you know,
who could know?
What are
right?
we? How are we supposed to believe what this is? You know, like what should we even take from it? You know,
who could even know? Like,
right.
And I haven't even started actually reading this chapter yet.
If anything, we should be looking for descendants of Ezekiel to get us the good drugs.
Oh my God, yeah.
Because apparently he had them. You know, like he knew the hookup.
Yeah, I mean. That makes me think that we should 23andMe him. Yeah, for sure. So according to early Christian writers, so this would be after Roman times.
Sure.
They became apocalyptic hordes.
Okay. All right.
And so, you know, they were like Gog, not a man, but a horde of dudes.
Yeah.
And Magog, not a man or a land, but another tribe of dudes.
Got it. Okay.
Hordes.
Yeah.
Throughout the Middle Ages, they were variously identified as the Vikings, the Huns, the Khazars, the Mongols or other nomads, or even the 10 lost tribes of Israel.
So just anybody that was like frightening on the outskirts out there or whatever.
Exactly. They're like, there goes some Gog and Magog up there.
Right.
Or like things that mothers would tell their children, like, you better get yourself tucked in by bedtime or Gog and Magog's going to get you.
Right. Yeah.
They appear in the Quran, like I said, as Yajuj and Majuj, primitive and immoral tribes that were separated and barriered off by Du al-Qarnayn, he of the two horns.
Okay.
Who is mentioned in the Quran as a great righteous ruler and conqueror.
Okay.
Like, weird, right?
Yeah.
So in Genesis chapter 10, remember I said that the Magog one is mentioned in Genesis?
Right.
Magog is described as a son of Japheth, grandson of Noah, although there is no mention there of a person named Gog. So, like, we don't even know.
Okay.
And then there's this little treasure that I'm just going to drop, and then we're going to go back to reading.
Sure.
Magog may be code or cipher for Babylon.
Got it. That could make some sense,
right?
I guess. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. All right. So back to the chapters now, okay?
Yeah.
All right. So, son of man, set your face against Gog of the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Prophecy against him and say, him being Gog of Magog.
Right.
Okay?
In the Christian Bible. Right.
Yeah. This is what the sovereign Lord says. I am against you, Gog, chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. I will turn you around, put hooks in your jaws, and bring you out with your whole army, your horses, your horsemen fully armed, and a great horde with large and small shields, all of them brandishing their swords. Persia, Cush, and Put will be with them, all with shields and helmets. Also Gomer with all its troops, and Beth Togarmah from the far north with all its troops, the many nations with you. So he's like, Gog is leading all these other weird hordes of troops, and God don't like it. So he's like, all you boogeymen fall under the Gog of Magog.
Okay.
And I don't like any of you. And I'm going to get you because I'm God.
Sure.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Get ready, says God, according to Ezekiel.
Right.
Be prepared, you and all the hordes gathered about you, and take command of them. After many days, you will be called to arms. In future years, you will invade a land that has recovered from war, whose people were gathered from many nations to the mountains of Israel, which had long been desolate. They had been brought out from the nations, and now all of them live in safety. You and all your troops and the many nations with you will go up, advancing like a storm.
Okay.
You will be like a cloud covering the land.
So this is interesting. Like, this is God, right, prophesizing through Ezekiel to a tribe that he can't even talk to, from what I understand, because we don't even know who the fuck they are, really.
Exactly.
And he's saying that you all, Gog of Magog,
and all your
hordes are going to you're going to attack Israel. That's where we're at right now, right?
Yes, that is correct.
I'm just trying to clarify because it's an odd prophecy.
It is.
And I feel like this is gearing up to be them getting defeated at the gates of Israel, probably. But I don't want to step there yet because I don't know for sure.
But yeah, you have the right understanding of it. It's an
interesting prophecy because we are now one step beyond them bringing, like, we're just assuming they are back in Israel, and now we're prophesizing about what's going to happen after that with regard to this other enemy.
Yeah.
So
this undisclosed boogeyman, unidentified enemy is very, like, out there, like ethereal, like we're not sure, some enemy.
And I don't really know what happened with regard to the Romans, but, like, I mean, obviously Israel didn't stay, they didn't control themselves, after they got done with the Babylonian exile. So there were some problems with them being conquered, I guess, probably by other people. But we're going to assume that they didn't get conquered by anybody named Gog of Magog because we don't know that person.
Right.
So
exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is very interesting.
And I know the biblical perspective is going to be that it's much later. This is something referring to
yet to come.
Whatever, Revelation, end of times. It signifies something else.
Right.
I get it, but
it's still interesting. Yeah. Yeah, that's why I had to, like, dig in a little bit. When I was doing notes, I was like, no. I'm not waiting until Saturday for this one. So this is what the sovereign Lord says on that day when they attack. Yeah. Thoughts will come into your mind, and you will devise an evil scheme. You will say, I'll invade a land of unwalled villages. I will attack a peaceful and unsuspecting people, all of them living without walls and without gates and bars. I will plunder and loot and turn my hand against the resettled ruins and the people gathered from the nations, rich in livestock and goods, living at the center of the land. Because, that's what bad guys do. They go.
I think you would have had that thought before you marched over to their city, probably. But, I mean, whatever.
Yeah, well, evil for the sake of evil twirls their mustache and reveals their evil plans. Right? Yeah. Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish and all her villages will say to you, have you come to plunder? Have you gathered your hordes to loot, to carry off silver and gold, to take away livestock and goods, and to seize much plunder? Therefore, son of man,
you mere human,
you fucking worm, prophecy and say to Gog. So now God is telling Ezekiel, according to Ezekiel, to go talk to this Gog dude,
sure.
Gog of Magog,
yeah.
and tell him this.
Right.
This is what the sovereign Lord says.
Okay.
In that day, when you have this thought and you think you're going to do this thing, and the people are like, you going to do that?
Right.
In that day, when my people Israel are living in safety, will you not take notice of it? You will come from your place in the far north, you and many nations with you, all of them riding on horses, a great horde, a mighty army. You will advance against my people Israel like a cloud that covers the land. In days to come, Gog, I will bring you against my land, so that the nations may know me when I am proved holy through you before their eyes.
Because he's going to stop them.
We're
or
not,
something.
We're not there yet.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. He's just saying, you're going to come, but you're going to think it's you, but I'm the one doing it for whatever reason.
Right, which he claims that all the time. I mean, he claims that he brought Babylon down to whatever. He claims ownership of all things, because if he didn't, he's not really God. So,
but here's my thing. This is after your people are back and they're yours and they're good and everything is roses and lollipops.
Right.
Hey, God, why are you bringing an army against your people now? You have Care Bears now. I
mean, I'm sure that people would say that it's just to prove his might, to prove his ability to be godlike, right?
But what if you just don't, though?
Right, and moreover, like, you know, if you really did, like we talked about how he was going to reinstill them with all the good feelings towards God, right? Mm-hmm. So if he did that, there should be no need for this.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's where this loses its thread a little bit.
Yeah. This is what the sovereign Lord says. You are the one I spoke of in former days by my servants, the prophets of Israel. At that time, they prophesied for years that I would bring you against them. This is what will happen in that day. When Gog attacks the land of Israel, my hot anger will be aroused. Yeah, it will.
Okay.
Declares the sovereign Lord.
Yeah.
In my zeal and fiery wrath, I declare that at that time there shall be a great fucking earthquake in the land of Israel. The fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, the beasts of the field, every creature that moves along the earth, and all the people on the face of the earth will tremble at my presence.
Okay.
And by earth, do you mean just that place over there in that area?
I mean, because it's going to be a very localized thing.
Or do you mean the actual planet? Like, I tend to think, God, that you are very localized and you don't mean that the whole fucking planet will tremble.
Right. But I do, it's interesting the wording they're using here, because it feels very Genesis. Mm-hmm. Like you remember how they used to say the furry animals that scurry across the earth or whatever. Yeah. Like there's some similar wording here that feels like it's almost kind of out of Genesis, which I know it's not, but it sounds like somebody was reading Genesis before they wrote this.
Yeah.
So.
And then also like took some, I don't know, maybe the New Testament had been written at this point and they were like, let's throw some Revelation in there.
Yeah, that could be.
Like, I have no idea when all this shit was
especially
written.
Since we're reading the version of this that is going to be not the Jewish version of this. So, like, there is probably definitely some revision, I would imagine, in this chapter.
I have no idea, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
The mountains, continues God according to Ezekiel, will be overturned. The cliffs will crumble and every wall will fall to the ground. This is some earthquake.
Yeah.
I will summon a sword against Gog on all my mountains, declares the sovereign Lord. Every man's sword will be against his brother. I will execute judgment on him with plague and bloodshed. I will pour down torrents of rain, hailstones, and burning sulfur on him and on his troops and on the many nations with him.
Burning sulfur?
Yeah.
Where the fuck did that come from?
Well, I don't know. The sky. God gonna pour it on you.
Was that a common occurrence? Like, how do they know about burning sulfur?
Right?
I don't know. That's an odd thing to throw in that mix, you know?
They were watching too much Supernatural. And so I will show my greatness and my holiness. Whee! And I will make myself known in the sight of many nations. Then they will know that I'm the Lord. La 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 la, the end.
Okay. That was an odd section.
Yes.
Because we have nothing to really base what that is referring to on.
Right.
And the direction with which that prophecy happened was not aimed at the normal sort, right? Like Ezekiel's been aiming his prophecies at Israel or Israel's neighbors.
People who already done fucked up, not people who we haven't even been introduced to, who have not yet done anything.
Right? Yeah.
It doesn't really track. It's weird.
So I did a quick search because I was very curious about it while we were sitting here about burning sulfur, but it was very common back in those times. They used it for purification, and they used it for special offerings and different things like that. And there were some practical uses with regard to medicine and bleaching and things like that.
Huh.
So it was a common thing that they used back then, apparently.
Okay.
And I just wondered because I'm like, how does that make the mix of rain, earthquake, and then burning sulfur?
Right.
Like, they weren't exactly chemists back then.
Yeah.
So it bothered me just a little bit to where I needed to do a quick search. So,
got it.
Do you have anything else to add with regard to notes or thoughts?
This section with Gog of Magog will be continued tomorrow in tomorrow's episode.
Okay.
So we're not done with this guy.
Got it.
And I will see what else I can find about him because I'm just very intrigued.
Yeah. No, I agree. And we should be, hypothetically, we should be back on track by tomorrow morning. So we will be doing, so we just finished Ezekiel Chapter 38. And that means we'll be back tomorrow with
Ezekiel Chapter 39.
All right. We'll see you guys then.
Bye.